Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Akbar Firmansyah. I'm from class 3C. I will explain about fake news in our today's social media. What is fake news? Fake news is stories that look like real news stories but are hoaxes, propaganda, and disinformation. Fake news typically appears on websites that look professional. The stories often relate to topics and people who are trending on Google and Facebook. The stories usually have outrageous headlines designed to get people to click. Why spread fake news? Sometimes these stories are created to attract an audience and the advertising revenues that come with it. Sometimes these stories are published to harm someone's reputation. Growing problem in recent years. News is no longer monopolized by legacy media, newspaper, TVs, and radio. Anyone can start a blog and claim to be a journalist. Most fake news comes from websites, less librarians who traditionally taught research skills. Media literacy is no longer taught at many schools. People are gullible and can distinguish real news from fake studies show. They view the media as the monolith. Crazy presidential election numbed our sense of shock. Truth was stranger than fiction. Consequences. Fake news sometimes gets more views than real news. Sometimes politicians and professional journalists even quote fake news stories. This is how to spot fake news. The first is pay attention to the URL. The second, read the About Us section. The third, examine the sources site. Pay attention to the URL. Such with such endings like .com, .co should make you raise your eyebrows and tip you off that you need to dig around more to see if they can be trusted. This is true even when the site looks professional and has some recognizable logos. For example, abcnews.com is a legitimate news source, but abcnews.com.co is not, despite its similar appearance. The second is read the About Us section. Most sites will have a lot of information about the news outlet, the company that runs it, members of leadership, and the mission and ethics statement behind an organization. The language used here is straightforward. If it's melodramatic and seems overblown, you should be skeptical. The third is examine the sources site. Does the story cite and quote credible sources, a person with a first and last name and a title, such as Mark Wabowski, professor at Adelphi University, or Nicholas P. Episcopia, mayor of Garden City? If not, or if they use anonymous sources or fake references to sources, such as sources said, according to reports, friends and family say, etc., be suspicious. And this is tips for reading news. The first is stop getting your news from social media. The second, consumer a variety of media. The third is support good journalism. And the last is do your own news gathering. Stop getting your news from social media. Facebook. Facebook is good for many things, but it's not a news source. Facebook's job is to keep you clicking, and it does that by tweaking your news feed so you only see what you want to see. Go to Facebook to talk to friends, but go elsewhere for your news. Second is consumer a variety of media. Some journalists and media outlets do a better job than others are being impartial, but journalists are only human. Some media outlets do a better job than others at covering particular subjects, such as local news, national politics, and international news. So be an eclectic news consumer. Don't just read the New York Times or just listen to NPR. Consume a variety of media, but make sure it's not fake news. The third is support good journalism. Ultimately, consumer will be the gatekeepers by deciding who gets clicks, retweets, shares, and which stories don't get attention. The last is do your own news gathering. Connect with your local community in person. Social media and being too busy has given us an excuse to stop talking to each other. Invite your neighbors for monthly potlucks and living room conversation. Volunteer at your school or local organization. Listen without trying to convince. Educate yourself through conversation. And this is the reference. Thank you. That's all from me. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.